All right, folks, right now I want you to raise your hand if you're tired of watching the narcissist be rewarded for their bad behavior. I'm gonna guess there are a whole lot of hands raised right now, and if yours is, this video is for you, because I have a different perspective on this that you may not have considered. And that perspective is that your actions may be hurting the narcissist more than they let on. And it's not like we're out there looking to hurt people, right? But it does feel unfair that someone can have so much of an impact on you, and it seems like you don't have any impact on them whatsoever. No matter what you do or say, this person walks away unaffected. But that is not the truth. It's just what they want you to believe. So let's dive into the 5 signs that you have actually hurt a narcissist. And the first sign I know that many of you have encountered, and that is the silent treatment. So if a narcissist shuts you out, if they're stonewalling you and you just can't seem to get through, this is a sign that yes, one, they are manipulating you, but they're doing it because they've been hurt. And that's really the essence of this, is that when a narcissist is hurt, instead of actually processing those emotions, they're going to lash out. And the common thread is that they're trying to push it back on you. And so if you're experiencing any of these 5 signs, please understand that this isn't about you. This is about the narcissist's pain that they're trying to push back on you. They're trying to get you to take responsibility for it so they don't have to deal with the bad emotions. Instead, they'll make it feel like it's your fault, and so you have to deal with it. And then they go right off into the sunset. Right? But all of that surface level stuff that we hear is actually true. The narcissist is not happy, and this is why they do this. When you're burying things, when you're suppressing your emotions, and you are not dealing with the shame that is bubbling up underneath the surface, there is no way that you can be happy. When you don't have empathy, also, it's very difficult to get the kind of human connection that you might be after. So back to the silent treatment specifically. When someone gives you the silent treatment, they want you to figure out what's wrong, and they want you to fix it without any input from their end. And it can also be very manipulative because they're not telling you what's wrong. So you may come up with 5 things to apologize for, and that wasn't even what they were upset about. But now they have more ammunition to be upset with you for more things. So it can be very manipulative, and it's definitely a power play. And I do get this question sometimes about these passive aggressive behaviors. Just because someone does this, does that mean they're a narcissist? And the answer is no. It could be a defense mechanism. It could be how they were raised. But really the important part about all of this is not whether or not somebody is or isn't a narcissist. It's about whether they are willing to respect you and whether they're willing to self-reflect and work on their own behavior. Because in the end, that's what really matters for you. So regardless of who's doing it, the silent treatment is a form of withdrawal, and it can also be a form of punishment, like they're punishing you for hurting them. So either way, whether they're passive aggressively withdrawing or whether they're trying to punish you and make it clear that they want you to change your behavior, it's a sign that you've hurt this person. And of course, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but if you're in a place where someone has made you feel insignificant, like you do not matter to them, but yet they're constantly pushing out all these passive aggressive behaviors, it's a clear sign that you do matter to them and you have gotten to them. So another sign that you've hurt a narcissist is that you'll notice projection coming through really strong. When a narcissist is faced with some of those ugly feelings, that's when they really up their game of pushing things away. And so you may notice in a conversation that maybe about one thing and a whole bunch of other things come in that seem unrelated. And they might even seem like they're not your character. They're the person you're arguing with, right? They're the narcissist's character. And so sometimes projection can be very clear in that way. So for example, you could be arguing about something, maybe finances, maybe the other person was cheating, and then they change the conversation into being about how you think you're more important than they are. Right? And so if you are with a narcissist, this is going to be very clearly projection, because in the relationship, they're always making it about them and their wants and needs and trying to push your wants and needs down. And this is definitely a way that you can know that you have gotten to the narcissist, because when they start projecting things out left and right, you know that you're getting deep to that core. And with this, I will add a warning. This isn't something that we want to do. We definitely don't want to go around just trying to hurt other people. But when you are dealing with a narcissist and you really start touching those nerves, that's when you might see some narcissistic rage come out. And that can be scary. And so if not for the reason that we don't want to hurt other people, maybe we want to avoid situations that could be scary or dangerous. So when you see this projection coming through in these conversations and it's coming at you left and right, just take that as a sign that you've gotten to them. But the fact that digging into this deeper will almost inevitably trigger narcissistic rage is proof that there's a lot of negativity beneath the surface. And even though the outward persona may project, I'm winning, I'm a winner, what you see when you hurt a narcissist is a glimpse into what's buried beneath. And it's not pretty. So now let's talk a little bit more about that narcissistic rage. Now, some narcissists are more prone to actually just raging out, going over the top, screaming. And some are more prone to the silent treatment. But especially if a narcissist is prone to raging out, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. And what I'm talking about is going from here to here for seemingly no apparent reason. But whatever it is, and sometimes we make light of it and say that it could be, oh, can you pass the salt? And that triggers narcissistic rage. But if you've experienced it, you know that's not too far from the truth. It could be something just seemingly innocent, something that you say 100 times a day maybe. But just this one time, it triggers a rage so severe, it's almost like your head is left spinning. You don't know what's happening there. It's again that shame that is buried beneath. And somehow you touched upon it. And maybe for some reason they were especially vulnerable to it in that moment and you just didn't know. How could you? And again, it's not that we want to go around doing these things, but in hindsight, it can help to look at the full picture of who this person is and to understand that even though it seems like they're getting everything they want, even though it seems like they can hurt other people and they're left unchecked, that's not the true picture of what's really going on. Narcissists truly are very unhappy people at their core. And so even in their happiest moments, all of that stuff is lurking beneath the surface. So imagine if that were you. In your happiest moment, you could be triggered like that. Something seemingly so benign can set you off. How happy could you really be? So the next sign that you've heard a narcissist is that they're resorting to guilt tripping. And this is super common with narcissistic parents, especially narcissistic mothers. So this is the kind of reaction of like, oh, well, if you ever called me, you would know that I had a falling out with my best friend. I've been torn up about it. And whenever you get this kind of guilt tripping, really what's going on behind the surface is probably the worst feeling that a narcissist can feel, and that is insignificant. So if you have cut them out of your life, if you've gone no contact or gray rock, you're probably going to experience some level of guilt tripping in an attempt to get you back within their reach. But this guilt tripping, it's a form of deflection. A healthy, functional adult might say something like, listen, I'm really hurting. I miss you. Would it be okay if I call you more often? Or can we get together sometimes? Instead of putting negative feelings upon you. And one of the truest signs that you have heard a narcissist is that they will engage in an all-out smear campaign. And really, a lot of this is damage control because you've hurt them and because they know that you see them for who they are and can tell other people exactly who they are. They're going to try to discredit you before you can do that. And another reason why a narcissist will engage in a smear campaign is for revenge. And this is really at the root of what happens when a narcissist is hurt. When they are feeling pain, they're going to lash out and they're going to try and make you feel that pain because that's the only thing that's going to make them feel better. Now, if you've done some work on yourself, you know that there are other ways you can make yourself feel better. But going to therapy or talking to supportive people that you can trust, well, that takes a little bit more work than just lashing out at someone else. And that's definitely not work that a narcissist is willing to do. And this is exactly why, for the narcissist, these things keep coming up again. They keep getting triggered and they keep getting hurt and they keep lashing out at other people. It's like an endless cycle because they refuse to do the work necessary to actually heal and stop the cycle. But while they cannot, the good news is you can. And I know change is never easy, no matter who you are. And if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist for a long time, regardless of what kind of relationship it is, these things get more complicated. And they get more complicated as a result of something called a trauma bond. The trauma bond describes a feeling of attachment that you feel towards someone who's been incredibly abusive to you. And if you're feeling this, you're feeling like a pull to a person that you know has hurt you time and time again and probably will do it again. The fond feelings that you have are kind of almost inexplicable, but yet they're there. And so if you can relate to any of this, I want you to watch the video that just popped up on the screen now. And before you go, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, please go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.